afternoon, everyone. How are you going? Excellent. So my name's Pam. I'm a naturopath and I'm also a business owner on the north side of Brisbane, just in Sandgate. I work in a multi-modality clinic, but essentially run my business from there. So who here is actually working for themselves in their own business? Okay, awesome. And is anyone subcontracting? Cool. How long has everyone been in business for? So what are you practicing now? Naturopath or nutrition? Okay. So how long have you been doing that for? Okay. Awesome. Okay. Good. I don't have slides. Well, I have slides, but they're not there. So I apologise in advance. So I've scribbled some notes down. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about me. I'm mum, 2 kids, they're 4 and 2. They drive me nuts sometimes and I'm super excited to be away from them for a weekend, but I do really, really love them. I also played hockey for Australia back in the day. I did have a photo of me. Oh yeah, there we go. Hey. Awesome. I don't know how this works, but I think press. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Ooh. Which? Is it? No? Oh, it's not on? That would be really helpful.
There you go. So forward and backwards.
That's really bizarre. Anyway, here I am. That's me when I made my first Australian team when I was 17. Don't insult me because my hair was really, really bad. And one other fun fact about me is I really dislike lamb. I grew up on a sheep farm in the south of WA and I was force-fed lamb my whole life and now I hate it. Literally hate it. So a little bit about my journey. After school, which I miserably failed because I was too busy playing hockey, I decided I wanted to become a personal trainer. I knew I always wanted to be in the health and fitness industry, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I just said, right, I'm going to go to TAFE and that's what I'm going to do. And then after I finished studying that, I actually moved to Brisbane, purely because I came here once for a tournament and fell in love with it. And let's be honest, WA is so far away from the East Coast and, you know, everything happens over here. After that, I decided I would like to go travelling. So I said I'd go travelling for 6 months and then 4 years later I came home. And after that, I went and studied naturopathy, purely because I didn't want to be a PT anymore and I didn't want to work with people that weren't willing to put in the effort. I'm sure we can all relate to something like that, definitely. So after I graduated, I actually got a job at Sanofi. Does anyone know Sanofi or what they do? So Sanofi is a pharmaceutical company which owns lots of nutraceuticals like Nature's Own, Bioorganics, Synovus, Ostelin. I mean, their over-the-counter range is ridiculous. So I worked there for 18 months and it was absolutely an amazing opportunity to get the ground and, my basics really well. I know everything, and then also to understand how many over-the-counter products there are, what's involved in making them, because they actually make them on site in Virginia, in Brizzy, and so you get to see all of that process as well. So after 18 months, I had an opportunity. Somebody approached me to cover a maternity leave, so I decided, right, that's it. I'm going to go see if I like clinic, and I moved into a multimodality clinic as a naturopath. So what did I learn working for somebody else? What an experience. So one really important thing that I've learned, particularly now that I run my own business, is know what's in your contract. When I first started at this clinic, I didn't have a contract. I had a verbal agreement. And 100% that is still my fault as well as the business owner. But when you first come out of college and you're so excited because you get an opportunity that you forget about the ins and the outs? Don't ever forget about the ins and the outs because it's super important. So I had a verbal agreement and I was on a 70-30 split, which is amazing, right? No products. There was no risk involved for me, particularly as a new practitioner. I didn't have a client base that I was bringing with me. The business owner is essentially having all the risk. So with that, as I started to get busier and busier, this is over time, when I got to the point of, I was seeing 10 to 15 clients a day, and that was just over 2 days because in this time I actually had kids as well. And when I got to the point, it was like, hang on a second, this isn't working for me anymore because I'm paying $200 a day just in rent and I'm flogging myself, absolutely flogging myself. So I think it's really important that you know what is in your contract and always make sure that you do your sums. Yeah, so when you do get to a point of thinking, oh my God, I'm seeing that many clients, is that still going to work for you? Definitely. And the other thing with that as well, I would 100% negotiate your contract if you are not happy with it. So as soon as somebody gives you a contract and you think, hang on a second, I want a 3-month review, get it written in because that contract has to work for both of you. It's not a one-way street. Yeah? Do we all agree? Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, just from a subcontracting point of view, make sure that you check if there's a restraint of trade clause. It costs me a lot of money to get out of one of those and time. So just make sure that it's actually reasonable. Otherwise, it can severely limit what you can do.
And from my perspective of being the owner of the clinic, excuse me, and having employees and subcontractors, get a legal person to write it. Don't do it yourself because then you want to make sure that you're protected as well. Yeah.
Definitely. And then the other thing as well is to make sure you know what's expected of you. Do you have to write a blog every month? Do you have to do reception? Because not every single place has a full-time receptionist. It's just the really basic stuff to try and think about how much time and effort you're going to have to put in after you've gone to work. So I'll just give you an example because I was seeing so many clients. In the end, there wasn't a full-time receptionist. Most days I was spending my lunch break phoning people back, and because we were in a multimodality clinic, they weren't always my people. So I was phoning other people's clients to book them in, and I didn't get to eat. Yeah, I had a choice, 100%, but I'm a hard worker as well. I wanted to do well. I have that drive to do well, and you never know if there is obviously someone ringing for you as well. And then there would be days that I would come in after some certain practitioners would be in there, and there would be messages from 9 a.m. the other morning. And obviously when you're running a business, customer service is super important. And I always think that when you are serving a client, you want to give them the best that they possibly can. So know what's expected of you. And now that I am running my own clinic, I have a new appreciation of how hard it is to actually run one. Because I think we get so caught up and we forget. I mean, everybody that's running their own business in here, you know how many different things that you have to do. Like, you are the master of no trade and you can do everything. But you really need to, appreciate how much effort it does go into running a clinic as well. So after 5 years at that clinic, I decided, right, that's it. I am going to do my own thing because it wasn't working for me anymore. I approached them, made some requests, they got knocked back. It was just a little nudge for me to move into my own space. That's jumping, taking the leap. And you know what? It can scare the absolute shit out of you. It really can, because you think, wow, what if my clients don't come with me? I was told I wasn't actively allowed to take them. I mean, there's lots of laws and stuff in regards to, but I won't go into that because it's Michelle's, what's subcontracting, what's employing, all that kind of stuff. And there's a very fine line in relation to those. So what did I learn? 6 months prior before leaving, I got a business coach. So I joined the Nat Club, the first ever round of Nat Club. And that kind of changed my whole perspective on a few things. So I definitely encourage you to get a business coach. There's so many different business coaches out there. They're all different prices. They're going to offer you lots of different information. So I think the most important thing Do your research. It's just exactly the same as somebody was coming to you. They're going to read about you. They're going to research you. So do that. And most of them actually offer like a free 15-minute call or whatever it is to see if they're the right person for you as well. Outsource. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've only just started. I have no bloody money. How the hell am I going to outsource? But seriously, if you don't outsource, you are going to waste so much time doing stuff that you could have just paid somebody to do in like half the amount of time. So I think it's really valuable if you just, and you don't have to do everything at once, just start with one thing and then constantly try and upgrade and upgrade and upgrade. Yeah. And surround yourself with people that believe in you. Because if you don't have people around you that you can bounce off, then it can feel really lonely. And even working in a multimodality clinic, I felt lonely. I didn't actually feel like I had anybody that I could say, oh, hey, you know, am I going crazy? When you know you're not going crazy because there's somebody else that's actually experienced the same thing that you are going through at that time. So it's really important that you find people that you gel with that can support you all the way through your journey. And the last thing is believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in you, then why would anyone else believe in you? It's really important. There's going to be times where you think, holy crap, I really want to quit. And you jump on Seek, you think, this is just not worth it. And yeah, I have times like that still. And you know, I've been in practice for almost 10 years. It is always going through those constant waves. So I think it's really important that, yeah, you can wallow in your shit pit for a little while, but you have to pull yourself out of that and just keep on going. I'll tell you a little story. So when I started playing hockey when I was 5. And not because I really wanted to, it was just because my brother and sister played. So I tried out for my first state team at 13, didn't make it, cool. My next year, I was 14, didn't make it, okay, cool. When I was 15, I finally made it. Might get a bit emotional. On my first tournament to play for my state, my dad told me I played like shit. You can imagine yourself as a 15-year-old doing the thing that you love the most and be told that you're shit at it. In that moment, I had two choices. I could believe it and give up and let it affect me, or I could go, you know what, and excuse the language, fuck you, I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's what... And that's what I did. And it's exactly the same in business. There's going to be people dragging you down, telling you cannot do it. But if you don't believe that you can do it, then no one else is going to believe it. Yeah. Thank you.
That's totally cool. That's me. I know, right? I do love lives. So I wanted to sort of read the room a little bit. Where is everyone at in their business? Because I have a lot that I can share, but I want to make it really relevant to you. So I can talk about structures that I have in my clinic that makes things a bit easier, and marketing and all that stuff, because I do Praccie Pro. Or I can talk about how to grow a clinic, because I've grown my clinic in a short amount of time and learnt heaps of shit doing that. So what's going to be more relevant? Yes? Okay, great. Well, I cover a little bit of both, so we'll just see what happens. Cool, that's me. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Emily. You might see me as Emily Prue online, which is ironically because I created my personal account so people couldn't find me, and then Tammy used that as my name, so it's totally fine. I am the owner of Verve Natural Health, so I've been in practice and business for 4 years now. The first 2 years of my professional career, well actually the first year I was in tech support, wow. The next 2 years I was in clinic, but I was subcontracting, well, independent contracting. It was a 26-page contract, so if you want to know more about contract stuff, just let me know. That was really pleasurable from the perspective of actually being able to not have any risk involved in actually getting out into practice, but I did find myself just not in alignment with the clinic I was at. I subcontracted to 2 multimodality clinics, both of them closed down. Don't know if that was me, but I seem to be doing okay, so we'll see. I then opened Verve Natural Health in North Lakes, so I relocated to the sunny coast after tech support to work in different clinics there, and then I moved back to North Lakes. My partner unfortunately works in Brisbane, so you know, it was better. And now I have Verve Natural Health. So Verve has grown from being a 7-metre square office, me working in a vibrantly lime green, disgusting, tiny place where I literally had to use a bookcase for my herbs, to now a 75 square metre, 3-room multimodality clinic. We have a whole kitchen with a wall full of herbs. It's so beautiful. And a huge reason that Verve has grown that much and so confidently, I think as well, is because when I opened Verve, I met Wendy, who's at the back there. And Wendy's like my day-to-day cheerleader. It's a bit of we have a very symbiotic relationship, and totally on the point of what Pam said, if you don't have people around you that believe in you, like, you are fucked. So make sure that you actually build that tribe. I also created Praccie Pro, so I'll talk a little bit about that as well. I know that FX Med said I was talking about that, so let's throw it in. My first bit of advice about business is, do you actually want to be a business owner? When I first went out on my own, I called my dad and was like, every clinic sucks, I'm just going to do it myself. And he said, okay, from this moment forward, you are not a naturopath. You are a business owner, and you know how to be a naturopath when you need to. And that was a really, really transformative piece of advice, because I think so many naturopaths get into business because they want to be a naturopath full time, and that is not what happens when you run a business. You are a naturopath. I find some weeks I'm a naturopath like 20% of the time. But I love business. So for me, it's worked out pretty well. But for others, I can see, wow, you're in complete misalignment with what you want. Running a business is a full-time job. There is so much to think about. There is a whole new plethora of stuff that you have to learn, and you have to invest time and money and energy in doing that. And if you don't want to do that, don't run a business. There is nothing wrong with not running a business. You have to be passionate to make it in business, and it's very challenging sometimes. So if it's not your true desire, you won't make it. Your business won't, because you have to be passionate about it. It doesn't mean you won't be a successful naturopath, but you have to be putting your time and energy into what you want to actually do. And if that's not business, awesome. Don't stress yourself out about being a business owner. For me, I really loved it. So I actually went from working in a home clinic in Caloundra, which was pretty rough because it was a share house. Like, anyway. We'll just swim past that. I remember the moment I decided not to work in a home clinic was when this guy, because they all know where you live, right? And Caloundra, it's like a tiny place. And this guy came to my front door and he had brought me in a little tinfoil bag the amount of skin that had come off his arm from his eczema. And I was like, I'm out, that's it. I need an office. This is not okay. So I went from a very small space and I grew very rapidly over 2 years because I decided, yes, I want to run a business. And I became so passionate about it because it was everything that I enjoyed doing. It was connecting with people, it was marketing, it was systems. I'm a Virgo. So systems and structure, I loved absorbing everything I could. And because of that, I created Praccie Pro. So Praccie Pro, for those of you that don't know, it's software that I made off a thing that I used in my clinic for years. So when I was first working in my own business, I found that I needed less time to be a naturopath. I needed to somehow create a structure that would allow me to do the naturopathy stuff really quickly, because I was sending people away with like 25-page reports in their second visit. Some people don't want that. It's a good piece of advice to ask them before you do that work. So I created a little graph that I could use and a quiz that just asked all of the stuff that I sometimes completely forgot to ask, so I could get an overall picture of their health. I then used that quiz to create a little graph and a report and information about what their health, where their health was at, and what we were going to do to be able to actually assist. So that made my report treatment like so much easier. It wasn't a whole process of, this is a textbook, this is text information about all these systems in your body and what we're going to do to help, because people get so bored. One guy fell asleep in my consult. Granted, he was like 70 because caloundra, and he was diabetic, so I blame that, but we'll never know. I think we all know. So, you know, it was totally because he was old. It was late in the afternoon. But I realized, okay, I need a system here. And so I just created one, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, cool, other people do this. And then it turns out other people don't do that. So luckily, on their first visit, I also use it as a marketing tool. So let's get into it. This is the state of health graph. I have very cleverly just blocked out the person's name, but this is a legit one that just came in the other week. So this is what the state of health graph looks like actually this is the first version of it. It's actually been upgraded since then. But this is what's on my website. So this is a screenshot of my website, and this is how I sell it as an opt-in on my website. So from a marketing perspective, obviously, we need to be connecting with people. Have you noticed that that seems to be a theme? Yeah. So connecting with people is definitely all about expressing your individuality, making people laugh. I've done a lot of training around marketing, and I have learnt that if you can't inspire, motivate, or educate, just don't actually put anything up, because it's going to flunk and you're going to feel shit about it. So for me, after I had already used this graph in the clinic, I thought, oh my God, this is amazing for marketing because it's personalised. They actually learn something, and it does position you as an expert in your field as well. There's a new release that's happened Friday, because I like stress, so I thought, yeah, let's do a launch, sweet. So there's a new release version that is actually completely customizable, because what I found when I'd released this is that some people focus on very niche areas, and like amazing niche areas like EDS, and people need to know, okay, is this someone that I need to see? Is this an area that I need to really focus on? So now there's a customizable version of it, which just means that it can be more personalized and connect with people and land with them a lot better than generalized stuff, right? So I do a lot of marketing stuff with Praccie Pro. How heavy do you want me to get into it? Okay, great. Hot and heavy. This is what the actual reports look like. So you can see there's a link to your website that's hyperlinked, and there's a bit of a call to action on it. But what you do from there is really up to you. On the report that you receive, you get the client's phone number. So it's not actually required that they give their phone number. It's required that they give their email address, but not their phone number. If they do give you their phone number, then the conversion rate I find in my clinic is over 50%, because you can actually then just do a sales call straight away. So the beauty of this is when I first released Praccie Pro, it was all about email marketing and funnels. And how much did you hate that, Louise? It's a lot of work. And if you're not good at writing copy, then oh my God, don't, because everyone knows. So it allowed, like the software allowed growth where marketing actually grew. So over the last 2 years, the stuff that we were doing 2 years ago doesn't work anymore, because people are so depleted in dopamine. They need content that actually gives them some feeling of connection. It's like research shows that people spend actually about 20 minutes of their day connecting with the people that they love. So we have to be that source on their social media. We have to be the ones that are actually educating them and showing them, hey, this is where you need to focus on. I get you, I hear you. So if you can't share content that's actually going to hit that mark, then honestly don't bother sharing the content. Wait until you're inspired and it'll go off when you actually send out aligned, inspired content. Being able to receive their phone number has turned out to be awesome, so I'm glad I added that feature in. I do find that even on our website, the conversion rate is still over 50% without a call at all. So I actually don't do funnel marketing anymore. I can teach it if you like, but it's not actually effective. Email marketing is really, really dead now because it doesn't offer that connection, and it's really hard to write a topic line that actually connects with people enough for them to open up the information. So we call and we have a heart-to-heart conversation with them, and the conversion rate is just off the charts. I actually had a client on Friday who did the quiz in the morning and then booked straight afterwards. So have an online booking button as well, obviously. We then use this in the clinic as well. So we have a paper copy that we do in the initial consult because I like paper because it retains energy more than electronics. So we then actually create our reports and give it to them in the report of findings visit. We then also do, which I'm noticing so many clinics don't do, we do a review process as well. So usually at 6 months, sometimes at 3 if people respond very quickly, then we do the whole process again with their graph, and people love it. They love seeing data. They love that it's simple. It's not a whole bunch of stuff. So I also use the Code Care plan in the report of findings, and I actually mainly use their pathology and then the state of health report just to explain what we're doing. And then on the Code Care plan, if they want to read all the technicalities of it, they can. But I'm not wasting my time just like talking off a piece of paper that they can take home. So it's very, very effective as far as marketing goes, and as a clinical structure, it gave me something that wasn't there. I had to create it because I needed it so I could focus on my business, and it turned out to be an amazing business tool and the foundation of a new business that I love because I get to teach marketing, so that's sweet. Yeah, complete it first. Exactly. As a new grad, you can know what... So I was a new grad when I created it, and I was so worried that I wasn't treating the right system, and I was so overwhelmed, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to because caloundra. So I created this, and it also gave me structure as a practitioner to go, oh, wow, yeah, I do need to focus on gut first. And it's so awesome, I have to say. So I'm just going to... all the mindset stuff I was going to do, all right, it's not happening. This is most amazing for exactly what you see here. Stress is right at the core of everything. And people nowadays do not identify with stress. I'm one of those people. Is anyone else here one of those people, right? Right? So we can all talk until we're blue in the face to our client about the fact that we know they're stressed and that physically their body is stressed. Cortisol is being released. The reason you can't lose weight is because you're effing stressed all the time and you don't eat and, you know, all the stuff that I do. So being able to actually graphically show someone, this is how depleted you are. This is the core of everything. You can see that. It makes them connect with it in a totally different way, because let's get to the core of it. Stress is truly the driver of all of the chronic disease that I can see. So removing stress removes so many problems, but people don't pay attention to it because they think if I'm stressed then I'm not coping, and I'm coping. But they're only coping because they're adapting to a more stressful lifestyle. So it's very effective for being able to actually bring home the points of, this is what I'm talking about. See, there's a graph that has your name on it. What I said is right. And then they actually are more compliant because the statistics are that client retention rate is 50%. And that comes down to the connection that you have with the client, the rapport that you can build, and also how well you can educate them about what they're actually doing and why. People will not come back if they don't know what's going on with their health and why you're giving them a bunch of gross tasting herbs. So it's so imperative, and I know it's basic information, but I really thought that everyone was doing something and they weren't, and that's why Practi-Pro happened. So if you have any more questions about specifics of marketing and all that sort of stuff, feel free to have a chat. I have a very slow Facebook page with Practi-Pro. I apologise, I put a lot of effort into Verve at the moment because it's a very needy child. But yeah, let me know because I've run out of time. This is all the other stuff I was going to talk about. Oh. I do want to just have a bit of a tribute to all the people that have helped me get to where I am as well. So this is my tribe. Find yours. Thank you.
Hello. So I actually have a story about even standing here today. About a week ago, I messaged Tammy and said, I'm really sorry, but I'm pulling out from talking. And the reality and the reason why is because business is really, really hard. And it completely overtook me. I don't know, some of you, does anyone know who I am? Yes, some people. So I'm Carly and I own Kismet Health and Kismet Health Hub in regional northeast Victoria. So I graduated in 2016 and jumped straight into clinic life. So I opened up a home-based clinic. My first week of practice, I saw 15 clients, and within a month I was seeing 30 clients a week. Within 2 months, I said to Tammy, I need help. And so I joined the NAT Club, and I've been working with Tammy for about 2 years now. I was in Tasmania with my husband, about 11 months of working from home and having Kismet Health. And I said, I need that next step. Rewind even back further, when I was sitting in chemistry classes, of which I passed with like a 52, because chemistry is not my thing, I was planning my business. So owning a multimodality clinic with a yoga studio was always what I was going to do. When we got into the business class, we had to draw it. It was always something in my mind. So there was this space that was open and available. We looked at it and I thought, oh, yes, but no, I don't have money, all the things. And then Lockie just said, but just go for it. And so my number one piece of advice for you is think outside the box. So I went to the landlord and I said, I don't have the money to start up a multimodality clinic. Can you pay for the fit out? And can I pay you back? And he was just like, yes. Sat back in like, okay. And so it's funny because in about 4 weeks' time, I will have completely paid back that fit out in a 3-year lease for our multimodality clinic. But I guess fast forward to where I am now, kind of what Em was saying, you become so much more than just a naturopath. And the past month, I've said to a couple of people even sitting in this room today, am I going to sell my business? It is the most amazing, epic, emotional thing you will ever do in your life. And I'm sure that some of you feel that in your own businesses, no matter whether you work from a home-based clinic or a big multimodality clinic. It is hard. You wear multiple hats, and we always will. But I think that the second thing that is really important is to make sure that you are aligned with it, and that the people that you bring on as you grow and you take that next step or that next big leap are aligned with you too. That's the mistake that I've made, and that is why 1 month ago I hit that bottom of going, what have I done, and do I want this anymore? I didn't actually ask anybody who signed contracts, what are your values? What is your business mission? I know that now, but because I just jumped in and did it, and that's fine, and that's my journey, and that's absolutely not wrong. But now, after last week of asking someone to leave, and for another person deciding to leave because I also had to increase the rent because I realised I wasn't making enough money. I'm looking to align the business with the people who I need, and maybe in 6 months' time I'll look back and be grateful that all of that happened so that I could restructure the business, or maybe I'll sell. So some of the people in the room know that I'm a very detailed orientated person. So the fact that I'm even standing here without a PowerPoint presentation and a speech is like a big deal. Massive. And now I've completely lost where I was going with that. I think because she's been there, and a part of where I'm at is absolute burnout of going and giving so much to everybody, all of the practitioners. We've got 5 movement studios, we've got 3 chiropractors, 3 naturopaths, a kinesiologist, an osteopath, a myotherapist, 2 receptionists. Yes, and this is all within, Kismet Health Hub is 1 year old. In 4 weeks, and so I graduated in 2016, so it's nearly 2 years since I've been practicing for 2 years. There was no manual on how to do it. I just jumped in and did it, and I've done, the absolute best that I could do. And I guess for anybody here, there might be a new graduate in this room, and just do it. Like, your journey will be completely different to absolutely anybody else's in this room. And I guess there is no right or wrong. You've just got to kind of do what feels right for you. And it's a really interesting place that I'm in, because you kind of, I've achieved that goal that was on the piece of paper of owning this clinic and having a movement studio and yoga and all this connection and health under the one roof. But then when you stand there and you get there and you go, oh, this feels funny. This is really hard work. And you go, do I still want to do it? It's a really weird place to stand in. And I think I've seen other business owners continue down that path and, not listen to what they really need to do. And I guess it's an interesting place to be in, and maybe you're the same, in that same situation, before taking a next big leap or realising something else that you want to do. But yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
Okay, so knowing that you took the class, knowing that you've done the galloping stuff with Murray, would you run the future staff moving forward through that to see if they were emergencies?
Yeah, so I did that for the receptionist team, not for the practitioners. Yeah, so that was an interesting thing that in itself. Yeah, so since, and I guess I met Murray halfway through with Tammy, and then learnt about all of that strength-based testing, and yeah.
In hindsight, would you think that that would be a place to go then if you were starting up a brand new clinic? Do you think that everybody?
Yes, and sit down with them. Like, I haven't even started Avid. It's been, a couple of weeks, and I've known people are leaving, and I had to ask someone also that I said to them, I'm not renewing your contract, which these hard conversations are just crippling, for your nervous system. And that stuff you've got to be prepared for. If you're going to hire people or you want to take this next big step, you have to be prepared to sit in the shit, and to be like, oh my God, I'm a naturopath and I'm an empath and I love people and I want everyone to get along and be happy. But the reality of it is we're people and we're complex and we're always going to have stuff going on. But yes, absolutely. And I think actually sitting down with them and saying, what are your values? Where do you want to go? We don't actually ask that. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it creates that divide, and that's the last thing that you want, and it's just become so toxic.
People take sides.
Yeah.
You can be the owner, they'll take sides in the industry.
And I think being the owner is the hardest, almost the hardest, because you've got you hold it together, you are the glue. And I've seen it within my own business that people will group. And you feel like you're the one in the corner and everyone's standing over there going, oh, and she's so young and she's, come out of uni and she's done this. But what I've learned is you've just got to go. And Tammy's really one of the things she's, and you put up that mirror and you go, well, what does that say about them and what's going on in their life that they need to sort out? And is it actually about me and what I'm doing? I'm just being me and doing what I wanted to do and following that passion.
So just on that, you're never going to please everyone.
No.
Mm.
there's no point trying and please everyone. It's exactly the same as some clients. You're just like, you know what? I'm just not the right person for you. So stop trying to like please everyone. Just do your thing. Stay in your own lane. I mean, we always talk about that in the club as well. It's just like, do your own thing. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just concentrate on you and focus on you, because that's what you can control. You can't control anyone else.
Does anyone have something in their business that you're stuck? Yeah.
On the end of
Yeah.
this, because I've done some work around some similar stuff. So you know how when that I don't have kids, so I'm just assuming that you don't let them walk really quickly. I hear that a lot. People are like, oh, he's walking and he's really young and it's going to damage his bones, right? Have you heard this? Is it true, mums? When babies walk too soon and then it damages their legs, right? So a business is literally like giving birth to a child, 100%. It takes your energy, it takes your time, it takes a shit ton of your money. And if you don't want kids, like, don't have a kid, you know what I mean? So sometimes growth can be damaging, because there's a reason that in business, if you do business training, in business, there's a natural life cycle, and it's 2 to 5 years for a small business to reach what is called a leverage stage, where you have made 6 figures and then you're into leveraging and making 7 figures. So sometimes when people grow really, really quickly, they actually don't have the foundations that those 2 to 5 years are supposed to supply. And it's amplified massively, and it's harmful to that person, because when you grow so quickly, money amplifies everything. Like, growth amplifies everything. So if there's cracks, those cracks suddenly become something that swallow you whole. So appreciate that there is a cycle of growth. Don't think, oh shit, I haven't made 6 figures, I'm a failure. Because sometimes things don't happen because it's in your highest good that it doesn't happen. There is a cycle of growth, and well, I definitely don't see people out there talking about this. You know, making 7 figures, for example. I know people that have made 7 figures and then gotten the shit suit out of them and lost everything, because once again, money amplifies everything. If there's cracks there and you don't have a solid foundation, then everything will wobble. And if you're not resilient in that and you're not aligned with where that path is taking you, then you will wobble with it and you'll fall. So appreciate that aspect of business, because that's helped me a lot when I feel very stuck, and when I'm slowly, plodding along and I realize, oh shit, that's a great lesson. I had to fire 2 people before I found someone that's moderately good at reception, So, and every single thing that you do in business will teach you something if you choose to see it from that perspective. So appreciate that growth cycle, and know that the foundations that you're building at the start, before the 6 figures, before the leveraging happens, is the fundamental, most crucial aspect of a business, 100%. And it's who you are as you're going through that journey. Sorry, questions?
And I guess even I'm going to just pipe in on that. I think that's one of the things that I've probably the last 6 months, but more intensely the last 3 months, is actually going systems. One thing that we don't do well I haven't done well, and I can see it with a lot of other naturopaths, is that we just do it all ourselves, and we continue to do that, when probably one of the best things I've learned in the last 3 months is actually that we need to put something in place so that the system isn't reliant on people. Does that make sense? That the systems can run on their own, so that I don't have to physically be there. So if you have a policy and a procedure or a way of doing something, whether that be opening the clinic, whether that be answering the phone, booking in a client, absolutely everything. Everything. It doesn't matter whether you're, the moment you employ someone, or you have a social media marketing manager, or, all of those things. If you want to hand something over, you need to have systems in place, because the goal is for you to step back and out of that. But unless there's a system or a procedure, or you're going to tell them how to do it, you're still going to be like, I want to give it to you, but I still need to tell you how.
And I know it sounds insulting, but you have to think that they're dead set stupid. They don't know how to do it.
No one knows how you want something done. I have pictures of how I want the glasses set out in my clinic.
Yeah.
Because that's how I want it, and it annoys me when they're in a
Yeah.
straight line. Or in a circle.
Yeah.
That's how I like it. And it
Yeah.
adds details with a brand and with the space. So
Yeah.
you want something done a particular way. And I highly recommend, because once you start employing and growing, it happens really quickly. Burnout is a fucking part of it. I'm sorry, it's a part of it. It just is, it's an initiation
Write what you do.
Exactly.
Whatever it is you do.
Because that's stuff that you can do now, and you can do it from a space of actually being able to take time and do it exactly how you want. Because if you have to do it in the 2 weeks leading up to your new employees coming on board, and you've got a full business to run, I can tell you it's a bit of a shit show.
Yeah.
So you can do these things now.
I was going to say, from someone with a practice for ages, I sort of have those things written down, which is regretful because I would like to go back and start again. But
I can send you some templates.
someone told me, which might be helpful for other people, if you just get there in the morning with your phone and do everything you do and record it, you could give it to someone else.
Yeah.
So when Em's there doing her glasses, she could just go. So that might be a way that I imagine I can get
Yeah. And I've done that with Clinico. So I've just recorded what I'm doing on, so now for our receptionists, so that, because I had to let someone go, and then we've also had someone move on by themselves and relocate to Melbourne. And shit hits the fan because you have got to keep your clinic going, but train someone brand new, give them the space to grow and feel comfortable. But if it's in a video form and if you don't have those systems or explanations there, you have to physically be there to train them, or someone else does. So if it's in a video form or written, you can, yeah. Do you guys have questions?
Okay, perfect. Anyone have any questions? Well,
Okay, so what are your thoughts about taking a school-based training into reception?
What was that?
Sure. If they fit with your culture, and you know what your culture actually is, yeah, totally. Why not? Save
Or
money.
taking on a school-based admin person from reception, so practitioners,
really good on the social media side of stuff.
Yeah.
All over that.
And my little 2 cents would be, you want to find someone who wants to stay, because teaching people over and over and over again, yeah.
this is how I want it done. Well, it was just a way of supporting my community at the same time as having someone answer my phone to file clean clinic.
Yeah. And it's way cheaper than having a $35 an hour
Yeah.
reception.
And that's exactly right. I don't mind having to do that every 6 months. If you've got rules and fees in place, then why not support the community, get the help that you need from it?
Yeah, that's in alignment with you.
Exactly.
You can teach anyone anything, but you can't teach them how to be a culture fit.
Get into your local paper about you supporting the community. It's free advertising for that.
Yeah, totally. And like let social media know if that is truly a part of your brand. Let them know I love donating, so I put a post up of where I'm donating and where they can donate. So do that.
Yeah.
This is my school-based apprenticeship person.
Yeah.
Because I love supporting the community. It takes more of my time to have this, but it means so much to me.
Yeah. People love that. Yeah.
Because I've supported local sporting groups, one of our local cancer guys for the fun runs, and a whole lot of stuff, just because I feel that need to do so.
If there's time, you go first. No, I was going to say, I'm super inspired by all you guys, and I think you know that, but I was going to say, could you give us a clue about where you see yourself going, like what your ultimate goals are? But maybe you want to answer.
You guys.
I'm not sure if
Do we need a mic? It's very formal. Yeah, and I find this interesting because we continue to do masterminds and things, and one of my points that I would have made in another dimension when I did this talk is that you need to dream big and know what your big plan is. Mine is to retire when I'm 40 and then have kids. So I run from what society does. To me, that is the better option, and that's actually what some of my coaches have told me. Do the opposite of everyone else. If they're all posting this shit, don't post it. If they're all doing this, if they're doing a 9 to 5, don't do that. So that feels right to me, and that's what I do. I want to work hard now and then have a sustainable little commune and have a dog sanctuary and have kids and not have to work. So, totally. I will need the help.
This is actually what I want to do. I want to become a full-time presenter and then, have some clients on the side and have also a really successful online program that I want to turn into an app, which is going to be number one, and it's going to be kick-ass because I'm also a personal trainer. I'm a naturopath. I'm a nutritionist.
Tailored, it seems, but better.
Yeah, way better, and not pregnant.
Well, I think I kind of told you guys that my big goal, I've kind of achieved that. So now it's actually about, for me, finding happiness and that sweet spot within that. And probably my next step is actually to have kids. And one of the most frightening things about that is knowing everything that I'm doing now, there isn't the capacity for that. So it's about, and I love the beach. So whether I keep my business and get someone to run that, or I sell it and move to the beach and it's a holiday house that I visit, or I live near the beach, I don't know. Last night in the transformational dance, all I could see was me, my husband and a little girl walking along the beach. So, yeah.